Hey everybody, Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. We're here to do a special concert review episode, a little break from the normal action. In fact, I should probably do some more of these going forward because it's always cool to kind of talk about a show shortly after you've gone to it, right? Give everybody a little taste of what you experienced. So today is Tuesday, September the 5th. Can you believe it's September already? Hope everybody here in the U.S. had a great long holiday weekend. Anyway, Saturday night, September the 2nd, I went to Bethel Woods Center for the Arts up in Bethel, New York. This is actually the original Woodstock site, which they have turned into a really lovely concert venue that I've been going to for well over a decade. And on this particular night, we happened to see Judas Priest, Deep Purple, co-headlining tour, as well as openers Temperance Movement, who I only caught about 20 minutes of their set. They only played about a half hour. I actually got in with all my buddies. We're out in the parking lot for a bunch of hours, grilling and chilling and listening to music and enjoying the day. We had like a huge entourage of like 20 some odd people coming by, a lot of folks I haven't seen in a while, and it was really cool to catch up with everybody. Just listening to some hard rock and metal, having a few cold ones and grilling some chicken and sausages and having some salads and things like that. That's what you do when you're doing the parking lot thing, right? Heavy metal parking lot. It's a lot of fun. Really, really cool. So if I happened to see you out that night, it was great to see you and catch up, and hopefully we can all do that again soon. But on to the show. So walked in just around 5 after 7 or so. Temperance Movement. They are a kind of hard rock band. Kind of a throwback to, they sound a little Rival Sons to me. I'd actually never listened to them before, but pretty decent. Good, like 70s style hard rock. Maybe an odd fit for this tour, but kind of worked well. Got the fans going with some 70s sounds, bunch of young guys, pretty cool. I dug them. I'm going to kind of look into them a little bit further because I like that kind of stuff, you know. But by 7:30, they were done already. So it was kind of real quick, boom, boom, boom. And then right around, I'm going to say 8 o'clock-ish, the mighty Judas Priest came on, did their set. They played, I've actually saw Priest twice on this tour. I saw them back in March in New Jersey and Newark. So they played a very similar set, just kind of threw out a couple songs, added a couple songs, and plus, played all the, of course, classics you've heard a million times because they can't not play those, as well as some tunes from the Firepower album. So I'm actually looking at their set list over here. So they played Firepower is what they started off with, which is a great opener. They surprised everybody by playing a song that they were not playing earlier in the tour, which I loved, which was Delivering the Goods, one of their older classics. And it was awesome to finally hear that song live, which is very, very cool. They played Sinner, which is great. They played Lightning Strike, also off the new album, another great tune. They rolled out Desert Plains, which I don't think, to my knowledge, that I've ever seen them do live. Maybe they did that live on like the Defenders tour, the Turbo tour. I don't remember. I mean, I would have to look back, but I kind of don't remember. Cool song, though. Of course, they played Turbo Lover. They did Rising from Ruins, which is a killer song off the new album. Free Will Burning, of course. You Got Another Thing Coming. Got to play that. Hellbent for Leather, where Rob came out with the bike. They launched into Painkiller. And then, by this time, they're getting ready for the encore. So we're all like, is Glenn going to be here? Is Glenn going to be here? Because I got to see Glenn Tipton come out to play a few tunes back in Newark earlier in the year. He did not actually show up on this night, but he was at, I think, the night before or the gig before in Long Island. So for all you Long Island folks, you got to see Glenn Tipton. Did not show up for the Bethel show, but while they were playing Metal Gods, they actually, during the solo, they showed Glenn, a picture of Glenn, an old video of Glenn playing the solo, which was kind of neat, but I would have rather had him there, so whatever. They also played No Surrender, another newer tune, and then, of course, you got to end it with Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight. A good amount of people at Bethel Woods, I thought. Not a sold-out show, but I think that place holds anywhere from 15 to 18,000 when it's at capacity or something like that. There was probably easily 10, 11,000 people there, I would say. It was comfortable. I was sitting on the lawn with all my buddies. I was comfortable. You had plenty of room, but there were people all over the place, and the pavilion looked pretty packed. So, a really good crowd. For the most part, I thought the crowd was somewhat subdued during Priest's set. Of course, other than when they played You Got Another Thing Coming, Metal Gods, Living After Midnight, and Breaking the Law, because, there's always a subset of Priest fans who go just to hear those tunes, because I could see, like, when they played, like, Desert Plains and Delivering the Goods and the new songs, not a ton of reaction, which is kind of sad. Come on, people, if you're fans, investigate all their material. Please don't just show up for the radio hits. But anyway, I've already talked about that. before. We won't get into it now. Volume level was really high. Holy cow, were Priest loud. They were loud in the back, but I was like texting with some of my friends who were down front in the pavilion that said it was excruciatingly loud. You could tell, but Halford was screaming up a storm. Halford sounded great. Richie Faulkner and Andy Sneap doing a great job. Faulkner is such a great guitar player. Of course, Scott Travis is a phenomenal drummer. Ian Hill, just another classy, really strong set from Judas Priest. So after about like 15, 20 minutes break, we had the mighty Deep Purple come on. So I have, as you all know, Deep Purple is my favorite band of all time, right? That's no surprise there, no mystery there. So I have seen them numerous times over the years. Numerous times. And the last time I saw them live, I think it was about 2-3 years ago, something like that. And, you've been hearing all sorts of things about how this is going to be the final tour, and it's a lengthy one. It's going to take like 2 years. So whether that actually comes to pass or not, I figured, you know what? It's a venue close to where I live. I may not get another chance to see Purple again, so I might as well go see him at least one more time. At least one more time. And just in case that I don't have that opportunity. So I figured I'd go. There were a lot of, like I said, nobody left after Priest that I could tell, which I heard at some other venues, more of a pro-Priest crowd, because obviously they're a little bit of a bigger draw here in the U.S. right now. But I didn't see anybody leaving during Purple set, and everybody was pretty into it. Again, just as subdued as they were during Priest. It was a pretty mellow crowd, I thought. But they launched into Highway Star, of course. Got to start off a Highway Star. Ian Gillan's voice, not what it used to be by any stretch of the imagination, but he's got that kind of elder citizen rock style now, so he doesn't do all the screaming. When he tries to do it, it almost looks a little painful, but he gives it his all. But he sounded fine. Morse was ripping it up. Don Airey, Roger Glover, Ian Pace, firing all cylinders. They went from that, stick to another Machine Head tune. They went right into Pictures of Home, which was great. Really good. And then, of course, they played Bloodsucker, which is a tune they've played on and off the last couple of years. But, man, is it a kick-ass tune. And, man, did they really rip into it live these days. Really, really cool. Then they did Strange Kind of Woman, which was kind of nice. And then a surprise for me, I heard they were going to play it on this tour, and I haven't seen them do this in numerous years, was Sometimes I Feel Like Screaming, which is probably the best song off of Perpendicular. A great album if you haven't heard it. First album with Steve Morse. And just a fantastic tune with a great melody. You got Morse's killer guitar work on it. During the chorus, you've got Morse, Gillan, and Glover singing the chorus, which is kind of neat to see. Really cool. Then they played one of the newer tracks, Uncommon Man, which was great. Led off with some interesting Morse solos, and then Don Airey kicks in with all these cool keyboards. Very cool, progressive rock style tune. I love it. Then they launch into Lazy, which is really, really good. And then Knocking at Your Back Door, another tune I haven't heard them play in a few years, or in a few tours, I should say. It's a tune they used to always play, but they've been kind of laying off it for a while. This was really good. Of course, then you get an amazing Don Airey keyboard solo in between the next Perfect Strangers tune, which is, of course, title track Perfect Strangers. That got the crowd pretty fired up. And then Space Truckin', pretty kickin' version. And then, of course, the final two. You know what they are, right? Smoke on the Water, and then Hush. They did a little Peter Gunn theme in the beginning of Hush, which was kind of neat. So, but by that time, if you're anybody who's ever gone to Bethel Woods, you know that getting out of there can be a problem. So my buddies and I, whoever I go to Bethel Woods with, whether it's by myself, with the wife, or with friends, we always know that during the final, the headliner, once they start playing the encore, start walking out to the car. Because if you wait till the last note is played and you leave with like 75% of the people there, you are going to get stuck in that parking lot for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. And who wants to do that and get home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? Not me! So we listened to most of Smoke on the Water and Hush as we were walking back to the car. It was great. Crowd was into it. Got in our car. Got home. I think we walked back into my house at 12:05. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So otherwise, a good night. Sky was clear. We didn't get any rain. They had said we might get a thunderstorm or two. That did not happen, although it was humid as all hell. We were sitting there on the lawn on our chairs. Everybody was like wringing out our clothes. It was so sweaty and humid. But otherwise, a clear night. It was pretty good. So, and like I said, a lot of great company. And saw so many people I knew, which was always great to see. And the music was great. Bands were both good. I thought it was going to be a weird tour, kind of a weird pairing. But it kind of worked. You had the heavier Priest and the more kind of classic rock, heavy blues rock thing of Deep Purple kind of colliding. Again, Purple helped pave the way for Priest and so many other bands, but Priest was like that first, probably, other than Sabbath, Priest was that first real, heavy metal band. Sabbath created metal with the help of Priest and Zeppelin, but I think, Priest was kind of that, the leather and the chains and all that kind of stuff. Kind of took what Sabbath was doing to a different level. So it was kind of cool to see Purple and Priest on the same bill. I'd like to see more of that stuff. This is the kind of stuff you used to see in the 70s all the time. You get these bands that kind of fit, but not being thrown in together and touring together. Nowadays, it's kind of sterile the way they, you got a band goes out on tour and they find like a young, unknown band on the same label and throw them out there in hopes that, kids and people will get into the newer band. And I get that. But sometimes, you gotta, how cool would it be like if Maiden went and took UFO out on tour? It's like a perfect example. Priest took out Saxon earlier this year. That I thought was awesome. And Black Star Riders. Again, just let's get some of these big classic heavy bands out together. Let's go do that. It's kind of cool. Anyway, jumping off the rails on this conversation. Anyway, that's my concert review. Bethel Woods, Center for the Arts, September 2nd. Temperance Movement, Judas Priest, and Deep Purple. It was a good time by all. So make sure you visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We're here very, very often on the mighty YouTube. So we'll see you next time, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.